Wow.
Wah, wah, wah.
Ooh, welcome to the Commander Smiths.
We are the Commander Smiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowry Smith.
I think I'm. Don't worry.
Worry.
Yeah.
Worry.
This is we're
Worry.
worry.
Is this going to be a fear-mongering episode?
Oh, man.
Is that what we're doing? I don't know if we
this
are or
is
not.
this is gonna be crazy. Don't worry, we're
We're
cousins.
too.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
we're
You got it.
cousins.
I wasn't sure if you remembered what you were getting at there. Oh shit, man. This is
How about this? Today has not been the best day.
no. I've
And if you haven't seen the title or anything, it's I broke a bottle of MALORT today, and it's just been really depressing for me.
Did you actually break a bottle?
It fell from
Oh,
the
right.
shelving and came down, shattered everywhere, and I was like, "Fuck!"
Was that
you know,
before or after the announcement?
before?
Oh,
So I didn't think my day could get any worse.
I mean, that's kind of a good thing, maybe. Was it full or was it empty?
Yeah, it was full. It was barrel
Holy
aged too.
shit.
It was a good
Oh
shit.
no!
Yeah.
No.
All right. You want to get the comedy? That's the comedy. That's the comedy. The rest of it is just I don't know. Shit talking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and fight you, but understand that whatever Adam says, I'm pretty much behind.
That's actually what Cindy.
Um,
I was like, "Is this episode?" I said, "Is it gonna?" It's not. I don't know. It could go really long. I was like, "But we're pretty much on agreement and everything." And she's like, "Well, but it's Lowry. He likes to play devil's advocate." I was like, "I know." But at the
Right.
same point, I know where he's at with this too. It's like he could play a little bit of it, but yeah, that is interesting. Or is this for life? Sorry, let me get that.
It's
Whoops,
it
wrong one.
stinks
Get
in
the
here.
fuck
But like it evaporated pretty quick. So I'm guessing it's all up there. And I toweled up everything as best I could, and
Wouldn't it have
I
been-
tried to clean it up.
Would it have been funny? Like, what do you have for flooring right there? Is it tile or
It's a laminate over cement.
wouldn't it be funny if
So-
it just like bleached it out and you're like, that's what I'm putting in my body?
I would have taken a picture if that's the
Just
case.
started peeling. Okay, so this is episode 344, and we had a different topic originally. We were gonna
Right,
do
right.
Duskmorn, all that stuff. We'll see how that's gonna
We
go.
might get. I doubt it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I doubt it.
Just to give you an idea, like when this broke, when number 2 broke this news on our Discord, I was working out and I was at a good pace. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this workout done in about 45 minutes. An hour and 15 minutes. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to finish my workout because I was like, there's no fucking way this is real. So like, before we get into this, let's just pull over to that.
Okay.
Let's just
The announcement
Yeah, go ahead.
is cards were banned today in Commander. 4, but really we're only going to be talking about 3. So Nadu was banned, and that's something that we kind of expected potentially. We had a whole episode on it a month ago.
Right. Yeah.
And so this is very much against what we believe what happened. So the banning of the main cards though is Mana Crypt was banned, Jeweled Lotus was banned, and Dockside Extortionist was banned. All three of those are crazy. It's absolutely crazy that happened.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like to get one of them, sure. Let's do one at a time here. Let's kind of like, God, this is gonna be all over the place, just so you know. Like, there's so many talking points to this. We've been talking about this nonstop. All day. I've been talking with my wife about it, like everything. Like,
I sat down and talked with Kirsten about it for about 10 minutes, and she's like, "Oh, that sounds terrible."
There goes my video. Where's my video going?
Yeah, what happened to you?
It's
See, you lost so much money you can't keep the power on. Like, it's over for Magic players.
Yeah, it's just delayed now.
It's
I mean, 5 seconds.
We could or should get to that as well, but these 3 cards, you were saying if you just banned one of them, that'd be wild. Just
right.
one of them.
One
would
of
be
them
wild.
would have been arms up in the air, just like, what's going on here? Like, oh my, like, Dockside was the only one, and let me get this in there.
Right.
Dockside was the only one that we had a warning on. Like, hey, we're kind of looking at Dockside as being problematic.
Keep an eye on that.
They did not, from what I was reading all today, and maybe I'm wrong with one of these, but Jeweled Lotus and Monocrypt did not get warnings at all. Like, those just, there wasn't like we're keeping an eye on that. And maybe if there is somebody can post that.
And honestly, me and you, we're not keeping up with the RC's feelings and all that stuff either. We're kind of going off of what we can find after this news today. Because in my opinion, not only are these 3 cards kind of a shocking ban, but also it's a very huge change and departure from past indications.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And like what you were saying about the prices before, I'd say bring that up right now.
Which one about the prices?
The one that you just told me before we went live about the prices of these cards versus the past cards.
So I looked back on all. Actually, hang on. I can pull that up. Boom. Okay. These are all the bannings. Okay, so this is September. This is the one that just happened, right? Here is the list of cards that get banned and unbanned. Out of this entire list, I went back, like the ones I was like, okay, these are expensive cards. How expensive were they? Not these in particular, but just saying cards in general. Where were they in price wise when they got banned? So like Emrakul. Emrakul was like a $10 card when it got banned. That's 14 years ago at this point. We're going really far back. You go back to 2005 when it.
That's the beginning. Emrakul was banned within the first like 6 months of me playing.
So 2005 when they really started it with the whatever Black Lotus and all that stuff. That wasn't when we were playing and all that. But okay, so out of all of these bannings, there is one card that was banned that was over $40, and that card was what is it? Paradox Engine, which. There's a lot to Paradox Engine. That was 2019. So let's get down.
But that had spiked. So it missed the banning, and everybody went, "Oh, we're clean."
Right, and
then people started buying it. The price went up.
So it doubled in price. It was, and we had been talking during that time. This card's going to be banned. Like, this card is such a bannable card. We were so surprised that it hadn't been banned. It took so long to ban that card, and so. It doubled. It was at $20, jumped up to $40. 2 months later, it banned. Okay, so that is the most expensive card ever that they've banned in, I would say, I don't want to say modern era of Commander, but like in the last 10 years of Magic at least, of Commander.
No, you can say basically ever that the rules committee has banned was Paradox Engine.
Yeah,
and it had only been that expensive for a short amount of time, which means. Like, even though people were getting into it, and it sucks that it gets banned, a small percentage of the owners of Paradox Engine at that time lost $40.
Yeah.
Like, it had been in standard, or, it was less than 5 years old at that point, maybe 5-6 years old.
Yeah, something like 8. You're talking about Paradox Engine? Yeah, it was.
And right now, like, if you want to compare that, it was probably as old as what Jeweled Lotus is right now. But Jeweled Lotus was always a $100 card.
Yes. Yeah,
even after the reprint. That just happened a year ago.
Right.
It's a flagship card for this format. Like, that is like what people are like, oh, I want to get that card. That's
Right.
what you're
That's
like.
you're that's like the dollar to duels that we talk about, where your goal is to get one of those staple cards. It kind of goes in our, wasn't it in our, both of them are in our power commander power 9. Like this is the stuff that you need to go for. This is stuff you should have for your collection and everything. Really quick, I want to add one more thing with Paradox. So that was the most expensive card. Even if it would have been banned at the $20, that would have been around the most expensive. Up until Paradox Engine, $13 to $20 was around the range of the most expensive cards to be banned. These 3 cards, Dockside, what, 60, 80 bucks? Something like that?
Right. It was climbing. It's been reprinted twice.
And like you said, Jeweled Lotus, no copies under $100. Monocrypt, no copies under $100. These are 3 things of the most expensive cards they've ever banned, all at once. Not just one right now that's a really expensive. Like one of those cards would have had people flipping their shit, but to ban all 3 of these all at once. I mean, I saw people on Twitter today, or X or whatever the fuck it is. Sorry, there's gonna be a lot of F-bombs. I'm a little pissed with stuff. The dude had, a collection of all these. He had different arts for each one, and different treatments of every single one of these, of Dockside and Monocrypt and all that. And it's like, this guy's out like 10 grand. Like, because here's my other thing with Monocrypt, or not Monocrypt, Jeweled Lotus. It's now a completely worthless card. Like, basic land is better than Jeweled Lotus. If you see, I'm not reading them as fast, so if you're seeing anything with the comments, Larry,
I do. There has been some points and my brain has missed, like, already forgotten, because they roll in and I'm like, yeah. Like, that was all day on Discord though too. Yeah. But we're having the discussion, and hopefully we address what they've said in the chat as well.
Yeah,
keep going.
If you write down anything too, if you see something, maybe I'll do this.
Even if I write it down, I can't read it. Like,
that's me. Oh, yeah.
You have nice handwriting.
But you can't. I thought you might just can't read. I was doing that whole bit.
Right. Well, I'm deaf.
But so the thing is like, you just, like, one of these would have hurt. 3 of these is it. I mean, right here, there they are. I have my 3 that I popped out. I have the, the Dockside, I have the Jeweled Lotus, and I have, give me the old good for you, please, Lowry, because it's not really an old good for you anymore.
Oh, good for you.
Luckily, I only spent 125 on this Monocrypt with the inventions thing.
Right.
But just these 3 cards, my collection value just dropped like 500 to 800. I just checked. Monocrypt was around 1,000 before
that
this
one, yeah.
Before this banning. This Monocrypt is now, I just looked on TCG, it's going for 400 at this point. Luckily,
and that's only within a 12-hour dip. Like,
and luckily
it's going to keep on going down.
It can be played in other formats, right? I mean, that's maybe why it might.
It's vintage. That's it.
So, but let's talk about Jeweled Lotus. This can only be played in Commander. It isn't a.
No, it can't. It got banned.
I hate you. Touche.
Right.
This used to be the only place you could play this.
There we go. Thank you.
Was in Commander, and it is no longer, like, basic land have more value, more playable value than Jeweled Lotus. This is an uncard at this point. Like, you can't play with this card unless you rule 0 it. And the people that are doing the rule 0 thing, I get it. Like, your play groups, it's fine. Us, we could definitely do rule 0 because we don't go and play at LGSs and all that stuff with but there's a lot of people that play at an LGS. That's how they play. To rule 0 every single time just seems ridiculous. Like it pisses me off because I'm gonna go all over the place, like I said.
All right. Like, okay.
Get your points.
Okay. Let's kind of stick to that part right there.
Okay.
And as in, like, these cards didn't affect our play group nearly as much because some of us have it and some of us don't. But the frequency, as in, like, when those cards get played or in a deck, they really throw off a power level of a game, or can. And let's say, I guess in my opinion, just going with that, in casual, those cards probably don't deserve to be there. But also, like, cEDH absolutely deserves these cards.
Yeah. Then we can get into another thing.
And I wasn't trying to get into that because I do think that's part of this discussion. But like going to an LGS, you're looking for a good experience. And I'm sure that at our games at your house, like number two's probably gotten frustrated with our Crypts or probably not even due to Lotus. You've never even played one. I might have played it once.
I've only seen one. I think Renshai play it once, or maybe one other time when we've done Discord games. Like
and so it's what I think one of the things is you got a lot of, I don't know if I'm using this term right, but a lot of edgelords out there randomly that are just trying to fucking win and pub stomp and all that shit.
Yeah.
That sucks. And that kind of is what ruined it to where it's like people weren't, we know that it does happen, right? Like where people pull back on certain cards and they're like, this doesn't deserve to be in this deck. And then they work their decks around that. So they're not using, we didn't have Mana Crypt in every deck. You definitely could,
right?
But we didn't, right? We went, this deck needs it rather than every deck can have it,
right?
And we that's something that we've preached, but it seems like a lot of people aren't doing that, and so there's a lot of salty tears out there, and there's a lot of salty tears over this. So like either way, you're not making everybody happy, but a change, again, from what we say is, for us, the less bans, the better. Because the play group should be doing it, and that's what really should be mattering.
And that was what our
I think what they did
was
they took too much of the pub stomping LGS problem.
Yep. And
they solved that to a degree, but they're now you got to address all of the other cards that do the same thing.
That's a really good point, because I think that's exactly what they did. They did the LGS thing. They don't realize that a majority of us that play aren't LGS players. Like a majority of people are kitchen table, at your, like our play group. I don't go to an LGS and play Magic. I don't play Commander at an LGS. It's our play group. But we go by the rules of Commander. And so the ban list is what we go off of. I don't think they took into account anybody that at the kitchen table playing Magic. Like that, they were like, oh, well, they'll just rule 0. But you have to have some sort of rules, and sure, we might do a rule 0 with that. I don't think we will, because that's what we've been doing. I think they just took into account LGS stuff. They didn't care about the majority of Commander players are not LGS. Like, I'm sorry, like LGS players, I know you guys it's awesome that you guys go and play and all that stuff, but most people, you don't know about these Commander players. That's why that demographic was so hard for them to, in the first place, figure out that Commander was that popular, because it isn't something that they could measure and gauge, because they aren't the ones that are going into the stores and buying boxes from an LGS. Most of them don't even know what an LGS is. They buy from Amazon. They buy from eBay. That's just how it is. I do want to really quick, Satori mentioned, isn't there a legacy doubling cube that plays Jewel Lotus? Well, unless
I don't know,
the cube has a commander, you can't, because Jewel Lotus specifically says your commander. This is only cast for your commander. It's not a legendary creature. It's just your commander. So I don't know about the cube stuff.
Yeah,
so
we don't really know cube, and there are different versions of cube. I don't know what legacy doubling cube is.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So maybe.
Wait.
But
I just spouted out. We're at a kitchen table at home playing Commander. Kind of. Commander.
But at the same time, when you're going, if you're casual at home, are you really playing this? Like, yeah, we are. And again, we're probably tryhards, but we're tryhards with our friends, and our friends enjoy it. Our friends play our decks, and I do think the biggest part that makes everybody upset, and this could be just seeing it wrong, but it's because of the money. If this card was $5, you'd still have the complaints,
right?
But people wouldn't be out so much money.
Okay, that's
like it makes you step back and go, why am I buying these cards at these prices? Because they're that good. But if you can get buckets of them going at any time, why am I this is the part that you brought up this morning on the Discord. This is why you should be proxying.
Right. You're hitting 2 points I want to get to.
Right.
What
So-
do we want to talk about? The money
Go
part
on.
first or the proxy part first?
Let's go money. We'll
Okay.
get back to proxy.
Okay, so there's a lot of points to this. Like I know a lot of
Right.
people, like
So many.
like people on Discord, people on chats that I was watching, on Twitter and everything. You know, there was a battle. Like there is a complete battle of, you know, one side, the other side. Like they're going after each other, and it even happened in our Discord today a little bit too.
Right. Right.
The thing about one side is saying, well, hey, we're banning these cards. It's going to make it more fun. The games last longer. I get that, and it's whatever. But the thing I don't think people are actually getting with the people that spent the money on this is like, this is hurting not just a couple people financially. Like there's a lot of people. I'm not one of them, and that's the proxy part that we're going to get into later. Yeah, these went down. I've lost hundreds of dollars right here. There's other people who have lost thousands of dollars. But okay, really quick, I'm going to read one of the artists, and actually Renshai is going to hopefully get this gal's autograph. But Elena, it's the artist for the Breaking Border Lotus. Let me pull this one up. Jewel Lotus. So she just wrote this on Twitter today that I just came across. Not this one. Let me see the full thing here. Breaking Border. There it is. Okay. So she's the one that designed this, right? So she wrote, this has been one of the best images I've done for Magic. And it was a card that brought so many people back into the hobby in the recent couple of years, feeling lost right now. This gal underneath her comments and everything, like, yeah, this is her art thing, you know, her piece and everything. She's having some medical stuff, and she was going to sell her prints. Like she was gathering them up as like currently to sell prints to pay for her medical stuff. And she's like, I don't know what to do now because all my stuff is worthless. Like they literally just made my car, like my art piece, completely worthless. And I thought I was gonna be able to pay. Like, yeah, that's one person, but this is gonna hit LGSs. I mean, you think about all these packs that have the Commander Masters in them, that have Commander Legends in them, that have Ixalan is worthless now. That Mono Crypt that's in there, who cares? Like, it isn't going to be worth anything. This is going to hit so many different levels of of people, not just me and you or Jimmy down the street who has 10 of them or whatever. This is across the board hitting everybody in their pockets.
Well, and so like you're saying, LGS is going to get hit pretty hard. Wizards of the Coast is going to be getting hit hard. Like, number 2 doesn't agree, but these are face cards that you do promos of, and you put on the packages and the boxes to try and sell them. Like, oh, this is in here, and you just lost some huge hitters that there aren't really replacements for. I was like, what are you going to do with Jeweled Lotus? And again, you should have probably been quicker on Jeweled Lotus or just not really done it. I mean, or Dockside Extortionist. Like, Mana Crypt's been around forever.
Well, you did,
and like you said, it wasn't on anything. But Wizards just lost millions of dollars off of this.
You did Jeweled Lotus in that's how it got introduced, was Commander Legends.
Right.
Yes, Commander Legends, and then you did another one last fall. Like, I know they're not the same people, but like, was it that the rules community is just waiting for Sheldon to die to be able to do this? Like,
right. That was, I don't. Here's the thing: is I don't think they were waiting for Sheldon. They weren't like, I can't wait for Sheldon to die. I get to ban these cards. But I think what Sheldon probably was doing was that part of what we've talked about is just the less bans, the better. House rules will matter what's going to be happening within decks. They will police their own decks. And that does happen with certain, like Turgid could be everywhere because it's a menace, but people self-censor themselves because it's an unfun card. And something that I've stated, ramp and draw are glue cards. To me, they're not feel bads. They might warp a game per se, but they're not necessarily feel bads. Not like a Torment of Hailfire, not like a Craterhoof Behemoth, stuff that just kind of ends the game out of nowhere. Like, I saw plenty of people just going, why not Thoracle? Why not? It's played so much. And so now this right here sets the precedent of what's next.
Right.
And I don't, and that can be a whole episode on its own, because everybody's just going, Soul Ring doesn't get banned for reasons because it's been in so many, like,
right. That is a bunch of
this
bull.
follows the reasoning. Soul Ring's here.
It's so bullshit because you give like go look up if you're. I'm not gonna pull up that right now. I don't want to read what they wrote, but their reasoning on it is just like they give all the reasons of why they banned each of those cards, and then at the end they go, I know Soul Ring fits all these reasons for why we banned these cards. But Soul Ring is the face of it. And it's like, well, if you're sticking to your guns of like, we're just trying to make the format this way and that way, then you need to ban Soul Ring. Like,
right.
Soul Ring needs to be a part of it.
If you're setting a precedent,
yes,
you need to follow that precedent. And so you can.
So fraudulent that they are not banning. Like, if they would have banned Soul Ring with this, I actually would have felt a little better. I've been like, okay,
man, I don't want to go theoretically that way. I want to go theoretically. They should have been way more conservative.
Yes. No.
And just go for one, which we all kind of had a thought would be Dockside Extortionist. It was on the watch list.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would have been a lot less pissed. As I said in our Discord discussion, I said, in the past, this is, again, the largest banning we've ever had. They've always gone low and slow and giving warning so that this kind of shit doesn't happen. And so, like, I think
I need another beer.
If the rules committee ever listens to us or hears us or whatever, whoever was on the side of let's just do one and you guys didn't listen, start listening to them. Make them your leader. Whoever said take it slow. Because like it's a I don't know if it's everybody has to vote for it or not, or if it's majority vote or whatever. But if nobody was saying slow it down, and
we need a new committee because that's ridiculous.
Right. Because you have a full ass committee, rules committee, and then you have an advisory board, right?
Right.
And so how many people there were saying, let's just try one. Let's just do one. Because you don't want to unban a bunch of cards all at once either. You want to see how the format adjusts to it. You want to let people know what's going on. And that's what they have done in the past. And so the shock value of the change in priorities of the rules committee is very shocking. The cards that they targeted and got rid of, shocking.
The no warning,
it's just
with
crazy.
The two that the most expensive ones, 5 times more than any other card they've ever banned. You know, like at least 5 times more than they've ever banned. The two that they got rid of that had no warning. Like the thing is, here's the thing. Like if this would have been, and I don't know, I'll be completely honest here after I say this. If this was on the, hey, we're kind of watching this, maybe look at this, we might, eventually ban Mono Crypt and Jeweled Lotus, I might have looked at trying to dump this one, the Mono Crypt, or this full art Jeweled Lotus, and got the most basic version. Like, hey, I'll get my money. I'll make sure I have a copy, because you have to have a copy for the collection and for our rules, and we'll talk about proxies in a little bit. Because really quick, before we get into proxies, everybody, this should be the reason, and Wizards cannot be pissed for anybody playing proxies at this point moving forward. You should always be playing proxies. Own one copy. Do not have to have a copy for every single deck, because this is the thing that's biting people in the ass right now, is people that went and have, a Jeweled Lotus for every one of their big decks. We have how many decks each? Like 20 plus. If I were to gather all of my decks between Jeweled Lotus, Mono Crypt, and Dockside Extortionist, I bet you I have 30 copies of all of these. Not each, just a total combined. Now, they're all proxies because I own the copy and that's in the binder. But if I would have had to go and bought every single one of those and put those in those decks, you're talking thousands of dollars out the window, tens of thousands of dollars out the window.
So, and here's the question, and I've definitely seen this around, but this is going to, and this sticks with money as well again, but this is going to make a lot of people hesitate on buying the best.
Yes.
Like they're not going to get the pimped out version. The collection part, I'm not going to say it's going to die, but it's going to make people a lot more reserved on dropping money, because that was part. This is something that I was thinking of before. This is probably the second worst financial decision that has ever, I don't know, ever. I mean, but this is akin to Chronicles being reprinting like Legends and the Dark. You know what I mean? Where you just had so many people pissed, and maybe it's just that feel because it's red hot right now, but it truly does. I believe people a lot more after today, them going, I'm dropping the game. I'm selling my cards. I'm really reducing.
That's what J Soul is just saying right there. This is the most I've ever seen of people saying. He said, I'm selling all my real cards and proxying everything. Fuck this. That's all I've seen today. I haven't seen. You always get the sky is falling with Magic players, but not to this extent. Like this was
and also since we feel like that now we're going to push it.
Well, yeah, exactly. This is the first time that we've actually felt.
I'm not going to, again, not saying that the sky is falling by any means,
but
this should create
a second
hesitation.
So one thing, I'm going to pimp us for just a second. Progenitus, he said, give us a good source for proxies to bind. You don't need to buy proxies. You can become a patron and you can get proxies that we make right here. We have proxies like these little guys that we give to all patrons, like the Surveil lands. So there's a foil proxy that we make. So just in case you guys are new to whatever, become a patron. Gets you in our Discord, gets you proxies if you so choose, depending on the tier level. So that's just a little pimp thing. Right. We'll get more into the proxies a little bit later. But okay, keep going.
No, I think we can move into that right now.
Okay.
Why not just buy proxies?
Right. Well, okay.
Well, or get them, or make them, or become a patron, or whatever. But why? What is the incentive? Like, you hurt the secondary market greatly.
Right.
And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are happy about that. But also there are repercussions to it, right?
Well, I mean, look, right here, we're seeing it on chat with everything, like, and for the first time in us playing, the thing of me going, man, my collection isn't safe necessarily. Just so you guys know, our proxy rule is you have to own one copy. That's all you have to own. And then you can proxy them, put them as many in your deck. Because it makes sense. You don't want to, lose cards, get them stolen if you're an LGS or whatever.
Right.
You don't need to go own 40 copies of Sensei's Top and put them in all your decks. You just need one and then proxy the rest. Because
can you not bring up Top anymore? I don't want them to go, let's ban that too.
Top needs to go.
I'd be fucking pissed.
We've really liked this way of how we play and stuff, but this is the first time where it's like, man, these money cards are really not safe, and maybe it is just proxy everything. Who cares about the one copy? I don't like that. I still hesitant to even get to that.
Again, everything's red hot, and so you got to calm down a little bit. Right. So it also feels weird to talk about this right after it's happening. And I think it's okay to do that right now, because I think this is an egregious error to do all three. Again, I'm very much the low and slow. Do we want to continue with proxies?
Yeah, I mean, we can. I mean,
why not proxies? That just seems like the feeling.
Well,
right?
okay. So the thing is here, like, either
so Wizards of the Coast doesn't acknowledge the secondary market, but the rules committee is not employed by Wizards at all. So they are a separate entity, and they even said that they weren't acknowledging the secondary market, but they should. And they're not going to get in trouble for it by any means. But because Wizards, there's some weird stuff. You've always heard the rumors of, like, if they acknowledge it, then they could get sued, or like it's fucking with stocks and shit like that. Like, so those are at least rumors. I don't know whatever's real in that regard. But the RC is not associated with Wizards. They work together and they talk, and they get to see cards a little bit beforehand and going, okay, or that's why, like, Lutri was banned before it was even released. Like, rules committee saw it and they knew. And so there is a separation between those two. Why not proxies?
Yeah, I mean, okay. So let me just be the advocate of our proxy rules for people that don't know it. Like we just mentioned, you own one copy, and then you can proxy the rest. The good thing about that is that when this ban came out, I was only out hundreds of dollars. If we didn't have our proxy rule, I'd have been out thousands of dollars because yes, I would have been trying to put these, especially Dockside extortionists, man. That's in so many freaking
Dockside.
decks. Every red deck needs to have Dockside in it. So you're talking thousands of dollars. So yeah, it hurt me, but it didn't hurt as bad because we proxy everything out. So that's number one. If we're saying full whatever proxies, I don't know if I want to go that far with it. The thing that happens then is this: if everybody starts proxying and you don't make, you aren't buying Magic cards anymore, then why does Magic keep going? Are you like, Commander is the driver for
secondary
Wizard.
market, but packs getting cracked. Because again, it's all connected, right? Like, even if you're frustrated at the price of cards, it's because there's a higher demand or there's a rarity issue there. But if there isn't an incentive to get cards in the secondary market, then it's only packs that are being cracked. And stores aren't going to want to crack packs. You're less likely to buy packs. And thus, then that creates a rarity issue that's greater and a scarcity issue that's greater, which will make things more expensive. Unless, again, there's less people. And so what happened there?
Ibukaki, he donated $15. He said, "Light your jewel Lotus on fire. I have no idea what your donation stuff is anymore. Take off your shirt and eat a hot bean while taking a shot." I'd be up for taking a MALORT shot for that one, but I don't know if you want to do that right now. Oh, you broke your bottle. Do you even have any MALORT at this point?
I think so.
I think would you want to take a MALORT to the death of at the end of this segment, maybe, or do you want to do it now?
Yeah, at the end of this. Let's do that. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Thanks, Ibukaki. Okay.
And so again, why not proxy?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is why not proxy, because you want the game to keep on going. I love the game, even though these cards I cannot play with. Maybe I'm around long enough that they're weak enough to unban. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I literally when I was looking at that Crypt and I'm like, it's still on TCG for 400, and I'm like, do I just sell it then? I mean, where am I going to play? I mean, maybe they unban it at some point. I don't know. Get some money back out of it. And the other part of it is, we're still on proxies. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that.
I'm good. But here is probably my main thought. Like, whatever this decision did, and if it was intentional or unintentional, this feels like the first step into a separated ban list.
Yes.
Of cEDH versus casual.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of do the whole spiel, but basically for somebody like me and Adam, we are a higher powered
casual.
We're not cEDH. Again, we don't play combos. We don't generally tutor. We're not running.
Don't say generally, and because you're thinking of my Magda.
You got Magda. You got Magda.
Get the
and
fuck
Urza Saga.
out.
Get the fuck out!
Come on. Don't feel like that. But basically we have our own rules that make games, in my opinion, really fun. Like, I really, really enjoy playing Magic, and this, like, I think we're in a really, really good spot. And we try and tell you guys that this is a really fun way to play. And there's still saltiness, but I think it really reduces the amount that it happens. But I do think this is going to end up being a step in the separation. Because again, casual, I can see where these cards get really muddy and really like bitter.
Yeah.
But in cEDH,
you should be able to play with all
I just don't think it's going to, even though I don't play a whole ton of cEDH, from what I've seen, like Renshai, the word saying this gutted every cEDH deck. And cEDH should be held to a different standard than casual.
Yeah. And I made the mistake early on in the Discord by blaming cEDH. I was like, oh, dang it. My audio did its stuff. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's what it did it again. All right, hang on a second. All right, we're going again. So for some reason, my audio will just on Audacity will just boom stop working over there, and I have no idea why. It just does. Can you hear me all right though?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
There was a split second there where I couldn't.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I don't know what the fuck's happening. But anyway, so I wrongly accused. I was just looking to blame him. Like, it's a cEDH's fault. We need split things and all that. But I mean, these would be still in cEDH.
I mean, they should.
Yeah.
They should.
Yeah. And I think.
And again, I think this is that part. Like, I mean, there are a lot of cards in very casual games that suck. Like, you could just think of that list. Every staple that we've ever talked about, they're like, oh man, this is really good. You should at least get yourself one. All of those cards basically on the table for being banned.
Right.
In a very what it's going to do is create people like us. It's going to force us to either choose super casual, like much more casual than we want or are used to, or it pushes us into cEDH.
Yeah.
And I don't want either of them. Honestly, I'm really happy with where we have our games. And you can say, oh, you can house rule it yourself, da. But we have plenty of people that kind of come in and out of games, and then you're not looking to have like fights of what you're doing. I do think it's probably, if this was being addressed because of the LGSs, I do think it might have been a failure of the LGSs with their rules. They should have said, hey, this card's a problem in this shop. We're not playing this here.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done that just as well. They could have done that. And they weren't. They weren't dealing with their own in-house problems, because every LGS is different as well. So if that was the case, I think they missed it at that regard. But I do think this is where we're headed, is a separate ban list.
They better do it sooner rather than later. Like this, like, I'm sorry. Yeah, like everybody, we got a couple people who are at cEDH, and this is just, I don't know. Like the fact that they don't have that separated already. Like, I don't get that part. You know, it doesn't make sense to me that you don't already have. You have two different.
And I can't see who posted about them talking with Wizards for a year. I mean, they talk about a lot of cards. Like so I don't think that's necessarily fair, again, to blame it on Wizards, because that's something that they were doing beforehand, and they're doing their cards way before a year ago as well. It takes them to, and so they're already doing their thing as well. Not saying that they didn't know about it when they were selling the last Secret Lair.
Yeah.
When they're like pushing out like mana crypts or like, hey, buy these Ixalan Commander, or collector's packs, because you can get that shot out of a mana crypt. Like, that was shitty.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like, I see a lot of comments on that, and that could be them trying to push that stuff out the door and moving it before, like, it's a draw to buy that mystery booster Secret Lair. That is shady. That part
it seems, but they knew it was coming. I mean,
right. But the rules
here's
committee
the thing.
did not make the decision a year ago to ban these cards.
Well, here's the thing though with that. Because of that, do you think Wizards ever, like, this is the time, this has been talked about for years and years and years. We've heard rumblings of this, like, here and there, off and on. Is this a thing that, like, Wizards goes, all right, we're stepping in and we're just going to make the ban list? I mean, like,
that is another potential option. I don't know if I necessarily like that. I'd rather just have separate ban lists, I think.
Yes, but
Festival in the Box is what I was talking about.
Yeah. The Festival in the Box stuff.
Yeah.
But because, like you mentioned earlier, this is like millions that they're out now at this point. Like, they're losing some money here, and who knows, with the planning process of future sets and stuff that was coming out, if there was bonuses or whatever and all that stuff that's in it. I mean, can you see them taking over? Like, what would be the problem with them taking over? Then you have, then you do have the whole if they ban something, they already knew about it. You know, like right now,
conflict of interest.
Yeah,
for
they're
sure.
not having that. Like supposedly, you're getting a lot of conspiracy theories going out there.
They did it though.
Yeah.
So what they did was like Jason Mind Sculptor as an example was banned in Modern, and then what they did was they unbanned it as I want to say Masters 25 was being printed. So they had definitely planned an unbanning into a selling of the product, which is less feel bad, but it still is kind of like they might have unbanned that earlier, or if they didn't want to print it, they might not have unbanned it for Modern. And so, but it becomes a conflict of interest. I mean, they do it for all the formats already.
Right. So why
But
are
I do think I don't like it. Because it becomes a lot more
I don't like
less
this.
casual.
I don't like
I think
this
it becomes a
because
lot less.
This wouldn't have been banned. That's all I'm saying. They would be, in my opinion, because Commander is such a casual format. You know, we don't have tournaments necessarily and all that stuff. The less bans, the better. It's all about
Right.
It should come down to your play group banning things. And like, I know people are going to use the devil's advocate and be like, well, then why don't you rule 0 and say that you can play it? It's a lot easier to show up with, if you play with a bunch of different play groups, if you're at an LGS, it's a lot easier to have everything not banned and come in and be like, well, we don't play with this or we don't play with that, or I don't play with this, and you say your rules and all that stuff.
Right.
To already have it off the bat and be like, hey, do you mind that I play with Jeweled Lotus? And they're like, nope, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, it's harder to be in the other situation. And I think, and we just had the episode on it talking about how we don't, less bans, the better. And then they fucking do this. Like, it's like, who cares? Nadu, we knew that was happening. But these three,
Right.
like, I would have been okay with Dockside because of that warning. But the other two,
Right. And that's why I think the warnings are important. It is communicating at least what they're thinking about. And that, again, going back and them saying that they had been talking to Wizards for a year about potentially Jewel Lotus Mana Crypt, and they never gave us that warning. Like, that to me is a problem.
yeah.
Not necessarily that these are banned, even though there are problems, and there are plenty of people that were complaining about it. But I saw a poll on X that was basically saying, do you agree with the bans or not? And I think it was Wizards that was asking it. It was something like 37% yes, I agree with it, and then 63% no.
Yeah.
That's a pretty large margin of you kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And so I think this is
I'm cocky. He kept saying, Lowry looks thirsty. I think he needs some Malort. And then he's throwing.
right. I do. Oh, not. I'm gonna drink some water though, for sure.
No, you just got my train of thought all out of there, Ibukaki. Get out of here with that.
Right.
Well, okay, so that's another thing.
Hey, hold on, Alex. Can you post a link of the live cam shows, please? Just kidding. Don't do that.
That's another thing I wanted to get into is what's next. Somebody just mentioned, who was it that just said it? I'm trying to go back. Progenitus again said, thank God they didn't ban Orcish Lumberjack or whatever. Orcish
Bowmaster.
But he says Lumberjack on there. I wonder if something else. But that's on the table, man. I mean, the One Ring, the One Ring. Even though they haven't given us any warnings, we were talking about this week because I was about to, and this is a full disclosure. I almost spent my whole buy list order, or a lot of my buy list order, to pay off medical bills and credit card stuff. That it was CK. Like, literally, it's in my cart. If I pull up my CK cart, it's still sitting there. I have 6 Jeweled Lotus in there. I had more in there, but I was waiting for all my credit to get put in there from all the cards I sent in. As you guys know from previous episodes, I had to sell off some of my extras, the extra stuff that we were just talking about. Only own one copy. Sold off some of that stuff to pay off medical stuff. I almost last week just bought all those jeweled Lotuses, and I would have been devastated to find out today that everything that I just am trying to get some medical stuff paid and credit card stuff is now worth nothing. Like, that would have sucked so bad. So anyways, one of the things that you and I were discussing, I was like, hey, what do you think of these cards? What do you think of this? Was the One Ring. Even though they haven't said the One Ring is on the chopping block or not chopping block, but
I do think that it's they've given it the long eye.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's on the warning, but
that's what I kind of said to you, is like, I don't feel comfortable going after the One Ring because I think it could catch a ban in Commander, because it is or catch a ban in Modern is actually what I said. I didn't even think Commander. I actually didn't. I was like, Commander is fine. Now I don't think so. Now I'm like,
right.
Smothering Tithe, Rhystic Study, you mentioned earlier, or not earlier, Offcast, Cyclonic Rift. I think these are all potential things that they could just all at once, not just one.
Right.
Just
so basically what you're saying is, number one, this is destabilizing what the secondary market is doing more than any reprint ever has.
Right.
Or mass reprinting or whatever sets you're doing. Number two, it's undermining the market, which again, you need people to buy the cards to be able to get it. And so if nobody's cracking packs for these cards, everything else gets more expensive. And it balances out either way. Third, like, now you got to wonder about those cards and how big is that list? And I mean, there is a huge list of cards now that you're like, what are you going to go after?
Right.
And that's why I think if they're going to go after those cards, they need to tell us ASAP that they're doing a split.
Yeah, give a warning that these you're looking at. You can't just out of nowhere do this shit. Like, they don't even do that with Modern. You see it because of the tournaments. You see that this is in every single of the top 8 in this tournament, and you know it's coming. You don't have that in Commander. You just have what people are playing at an LGS, or what they're complaining about, blah 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 blah, or what, it's just what people are seeing. We haven't seen Jeweled Lotus. To us, Jeweled Lotus is not a problem at all. Crypt, yeah, we've played with it. I wouldn't say it's a problem. It's in 3-4 of my decks maybe, and normally it has to fit with a theme or something that's lacking in enough ramp. We have no way of knowing that these are coming without you giving a little bit of a warning. And so the fact, I keep.
And so another thing that I think in their explanation that I didn't read, and I was just gleaning off of what everybody else was saying, was basically as trying to slow the game down, and these cards sped it up dramatically, from what they're saying. Because again, this is only at most 3 cards in one deck, right? It makes it consistently more stronger, but I just taking these out, even though we were playing with them, most of our games last in between 1 and 2 hours.
Right.
Sometimes we get a 45-minute game.
Not very often. I'd say 1 out of 10.
And so if we're talking about like speed of game and we want it to go longer, do we start going, hey, we should get rid of 3-card combos? We should start getting rid of tutors. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what we're doing. It's like, why are we even thinking? This is such a crazy shakeup of what we had as a format that was really, really good.
Right.
It was a really good format. There are a couple problem cards. You didn't have to ban everything.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. We've done this on so many episodes too, is like, have your play groups or people you play with monitor how this is going. Because the thing is like, if you're playing with a D-bag that does all the awful, like, cEDH stuff, and I'm not saying cEDH players are D-bags. I'm saying if they're like, hey, I'm casual, and they're playing cEDH stuff, and they keep winning, you stop playing with that player. That happens. Like, you just say, nah, I'm not going to play with you. They eventually either get the hint, or they don't, and they don't have anybody to play with. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why we need somebody to tell us.
That is also part of Rule 0. Like, stand up for yourself.
Right.
And listen. Like, if you're being the D-bag, listen. Because again, like, you don't want to make things worse. You want it to be a good fun game. And that I think is important for EDH. And so, like, when I'm saying that we have the length of games being an hour or two, for us, I think that's a good range. Like anything over 2 hours starts kind of
Getting a little.
I don't want that.
Right.
I don't. Have you ever? We were in a fucking 3.5 hour like battle box game, and I was like, kill me. I don't want this.
Right.
I do not want this. Like that was. I had 2 or 3 games that were over 3 hours because of that, and that was the only battle box league that we did. I was like, I have no interest in doing this again.
Yeah.
It wasn't not fun.
Yeah. I want to hit this because I was already had this on my brain, and the Wizard MF that just said rip the Band-Aid off Soul Ring ban. I want to make a point with Soul Ring. I know we made the point earlier, but Soul Ring statistically, Command Zone did a bit on it. It's got to be 8 years at this point, maybe that they did this, or maybe less than that. 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
5, 6.
Statistically, the player that starts with the turn 1 Soul Ring has the biggest impact on you winning the game than any other statistic in the game. Not going first, not going last, not anything else. Soul Ring, turn 1 Soul Rings are the reason why you have statistically a bigger advantage to win the game because of turn 1 Soul Ring. So if you're going to ban these two, Soul Ring should be in that list too. And I'm not about that. I don't want Soul Ring gone, but I'm mad about these. And if your explanation is what it is about these two, and then you didn't, I know I'm repeating what I said about half an hour ago. I'm just pissed that you fucking you fraud it by saying these things, and then you go, yeah, but Soul Ring is the face and blah 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 blah. And it's like, Jewel Lotus is the face of the damn set for Commander Legends, the very first set that you have that's for Commander, that is specifically pack opening for Commander. That is the face. And we talked about that when we did the Power 9. What is the face of Commander? And I think we came up with Jewel Lotus? Was it Jewel? I can't even remember. This was only a couple months ago. I can't remember, but it was in there. It was in the talks of, is it Soul Ring or is it Jewel Lotus? Maybe we got rid of Soul Ring because it was in every deck. I think that was the reason. Otherwise, we would have said Soul Ring was, and I think Jewel Lotus. Now I'm remembering. Jewel Lotus won the face, but Soul Ring would have been there if it wasn't in every single deck already, every pre-con that's made and all that stuff. So this is the face of Commander that isn't Soul Ring. And like, if you can't use that argument and not ban Soul Ring with this. Like,
and so kind of in the comments here too is just like what this does as well, gameplay wise. I don't know how much this actually matters in format, but what it does is it makes Soul Ring more powerful. Like if you weren't running it and you're running it against somebody else, the likelihood of them, it just puts them ahead a lot better. 2, this makes green decks worse or better.
Better, yeah.
By not necessarily adding anything, but it subtracts from every other deck in casual specifically. Again, I think cEDH is still going to run the Moxes. They're going to Lotus Petal. They're going to still run fast mana, and whatever there was, they just switch it a little bit and maybe become a little bit less consistent, but it's still going to be a fast format. And so I think I saw in the comments that they were targeting cEDH in this. I don't think they were. I think they gutted cEDH in that regard, but cEDH was not complaining about these cards from my understanding. So to me, this is a casual ban.
Yeah.
And if they ever do separate the two formats between competitive and casual, I think these become unbanned for cEDH.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
but how do you do that? Do you have just, because I don't even know if they are a cEDH crew. You know what I'm saying?
No. You got a couple on there. Like there is a relative,
like a cousin. Just
what's that?
You said it's a relative.
I believe there's representation for everybody there. So there's competitive, there's casual. Like Shivam is in the not the RC necessarily, but in the other one that gives advice and stuff like that. So
the CAG.
Yeah, thank you. And so like I think there's representation for everybody there, but it does seem like the strong casuals won out on this one. And again, going back, I think it's a big mistake doing all three.
Mm-hmm.
Do one, wait a year, do another one. Yeah, you know, I mean, be slow if this was your thing.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, you can go through like exploration and burgeoning could be in this list of like adding mana. Obviously smothering tithe. Like there's so many cards that you could be going through, and we're kind of going like, I mean, Mana Crypt is strong, Jeweled Lotus is strong, but they're not like Dockside Extortionist. I look at that and I've said it multiple times, like this could be bannable. It's a combo piece. It fills a lot of holes, to whereas the other two are just mana.
Right.
I think it's okay to have some fast mana in our. I don't want the games to be less than or more than 2 hours, really.
Yeah.
And again, we don't have these in all of our decks.
Right.
I had Jewel Lotus in 1, maybe 2 decks. I'm still looking through mine. Mana Crypt was in 3 of my decks. Dockside was in more.
Yeah. Dockside goes in pretty much every red deck, but
right. But I don't abuse it. I don't combo it.
But exactly.
It's still very, very good.
I haven't seen a Dockside combo, and that's just how we play. That's our play group. I haven't seen the combo of that. It's always like, hey, I play Dockside, boom, get a bunch of treasures. The next person goes to like, I also have a Dockside. Now I'm getting all those same treasures plus more. You know, like it I don't know. The Dockside, I get it. We knew that it was being looked at, so I'm not as surprised there. It's the other two that I'm just shocked.
Right. And I mean, some of the other things that reasons why they've banned is because it makes the format too uniform, and everybody, like we're saying, everybody plays Dockside Extortionist, especially since it's been reprinted and it was under 50 for a hot minute. And it's a more recent card a little bit, like Jeweled Lotus is too, but it's people hold on to that a lot more. And it's mythic versus a rare, and you know, all that kind of stuff.
Well, you had mentioned also on the Discord, and it would be a little harder to do in paper, obviously, but errata the text of things, and you could definitely do that if you do reprints, like you mentioned, Jewel Lotus having it as an exile effect instead of being able to recur it. But I don't think that was what they're claiming the problem is with Jeweled Lotus is just because you're able to get your commander out so much quicker. Dockside, you had mentioned having the treasures come in tapped, and it feels like that's what they've been doing a lot with treasures as of late because treasures are just that good. Dockside, they would be printing it a whole bunch more if they hadn't banned it. And then you just errata it at that point, and people come by instead of just banning it. Like, I guess the errata part might come down to a Wizards thing more than the rules committee. So that's might be the reason why they can't do that, because that might be why you have Wizards be the one that's in charge of it because they could go, hey, this is way too powerful. Instead of banning it, we're going to change this, check Scryfall.
I think that does make it tough, but probably better than what I was half thinking, as in like they could, hey, we're going to print this card that is Dockside Extortionist, but we are going to put this type of wording on it, and if you want to trade in your old Dockside Extortionist, you can get this newer version or something like that, like with the different wording that's errated and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I don't know if there's a good way about it.
I don't know about the trading in necessarily, but I mean, we already kind of work with that with older cards anyways, where it's just like, wait. What's the errata text say? And we, quick search it up. I'm like, oh, okay, that card now does this.
Remember that black-white zombie from the core set that was printed wrong? Like, we already have cards that have the wrong wording. Like, Coma just had the wrong wording.
In the
like,
secret layer that's about to come out.
We could figure it out. If you want to change it around, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, so
for solving these kind of issues when you're like, hey, people love this, but we got to change it. It is an issue. And so I do think the errata that has the potential.
Yeah, I mean it'll solve the online immediately, but the paper thing you just have to be in the know, and
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing is, like, they already are assuming that we're in the know. You know, they aren't taking into account the kitchen. I honestly, as we're talking about this, I'm like, they don't care about. I mean, not that they don't care, but they're really not thinking about this ban affecting the regular kitchen table Magic players. They're only thinking about LGS people at this point. There's so many comments. It's hard to, like, you guys have really good points. I thank you guys for all the comments and stuff, because you guys make a lot of fair points, and we have a lot of cEDH people on here. So I like to hear that side of it, because we have a few in our Discord and all that. Right. But we don't.
And like I said, we're tryhards, so we like good, powerful cards.
Yeah, we're borderline. If we played with tutors and all that stuff, maybe we'd be closer to that. But we like the little bit longer games, like you mentioned. Not longer
that can potentially happen.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I think all in all, I do think this is a negative.
Yes.
I think, because it has made so many people upset. If I took money out of it, then I would still probably be trying to separate the cEDH and casual, just because you have a lot of cards that when they come down, they just totally swing the game. If you have the more, like, if you were in a casual setting and then you slipped in Ristic Study, it's a fucking game changer. And so the question is like, how much of a game changer are we going to be talking about, like, getting banned? And the other problem is whenever you ban cards, other cards just come to the top. And so there's always a best deck. There's always a best version of the card. You know, like you're saying, you got rid of Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus. Well, Mana Crypt, or not Mana Crypt, fucking Mana Vault is going to be played more.
Yep.
I think Ancient Tomb is going to get a lift. I think Lotus Petal is going to get a lift. I think less people are going to try and get rid of their soul rings because of this, because people were starting to work soul rings out. I think those were, like, on the casual side, but I also think it's tough. I think you switch up a lot of people's mana bases. And again, I think green gets a step forward by standing still.
But that's the other part is, like, okay, let's just say the good change for this is, let's jump over to Mana Vault, right? For the people that aren't playing proxies, which again, we're going to say, play proxies, own the one copy, make proxies for your whole decks, all your decks, all that stuff. That's what I'm saying. Do it. Because if now everybody starts moving over and you start changing, okay, I'm in Mana Crypts and my Jeweled Lotus, we're going to do Mana Vaults. Or, like you said, Ancient Tombs. Those aren't cheap cards. You can't get them very cheap. That's a $50 card for a Mana Vault. What is Ancient Tomb? Probably around the same price range as the cheapest one for that.
80 to 100.
Yeah. So you start, if you aren't playing proxies, you're now switching over to that. What if they go and ban those cards? Like, you don't know that they're gonna, like, they're like, oh, this is very similar. This was a rumor, I think Tad mentioned it, is like that he saw something saying anything that's producing more than what its value is to cast, they're trying to get rid of. So, like,
hey Jeff,
the whatchamacallit, the Ancient Tomb, it comes down for 0 and it's producing 2. Mana Vault comes down for 1, is producing 3. They're gonna try to get rid of these cards anyway. So why would you shift your stuff into that? Because they might ban that. You go and you have 10 decks, let's say, and you wanted to change all 10 of them with those cards to replace these that are in it. Why? You might get burned again. Like that. I have no confidence. You should not own more than one copy of anything that's over $20 at this point. Like, that's what it should be. You should not have more than one copy. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I still think dual lands are legit. Even if they got banned in Commander, like their Legacy Vintage, like there's plenty there.
What about Gaia's Cradle? Somebody mentioned that earlier too.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that has a good shot at going. It does have Legacy play in it as well, but it'll drop
die
in half.
Yeah, it'll die if it gets banned. The duels will do the same. Like you said, yeah, Legacy and all that. But remember, Commander is the driving thing of Wizards at this point. Out of all the formats, this is the big dog. Like cEDH, EDH. If you ban it, it's gonna drop. Like that, it's gonna tank.
Just thinking about your comments earlier about like Wizards taking it over. This, even though I said I didn't like it, and I don't think it would happen, I do think if it is going to happen, it'd be soon, because they don't like not having control of it. If that makes sense, they want control of Commander, because then they would be able to make the money, and that makes sense. They do it for everything else, and generally they can do an okay job at it. Like, I do think Commander is its own beast altogether. But I think, and maybe I said this earlier, but I think we're really missing Sheldon at this point.
Yep.
I think his leadership.
I said a mean thing about it, but I was pissed. Like, not with
Right.
Sheldon, just with the others.
Oh,
just,
that's
not
like,
with
they were just
Sheldon.
waiting for him. I mean,
I'm just pissed because it feels like he was the one that was holding it all together, and now that he's gone, it's like, I mean, it didn't happen immediately, but this wouldn't have happened under him. Like, that's, I don't.
not that much.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they would have all three been cut at some point, but over a span of like 5 years, you know. Even
I'd
if
give
was,
it at fastest 3.
right. I was gonna
3
say,
to 5?
even if it was
No, 3 to
1
5?
year, one card a year with warnings, he would have at least done that. You know, like, I'm not 100% sure, obviously, because there's no way to tell that, but it wouldn't have gone this way. Like, this is insane. Like, it's,
Right.
and like you said, I think this is the start of we're missing Sheldon. Like, and I hope the backlash of this is enough that they think twice about what they're going to do in the future. And I hope that they don't get all snooty about it and go, we're the rules. We do what we want. You know, I don't care.
They might.
Cartman type thing where it's just like, I don't care. We're the rules community. We do what we want. Like, I hope that they don't get all butthurt that so many people are mad about it and they just keep going to their book. I hope they actually take in how many people. This is the first time that and this isn't us speaking out at Wizards, actually. Normally we're like, everybody's sky is falling, blah, 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 blah. And we're the ones that are like, hey guys, it's
Right.
okay. It's
Calm down.
It's going to be okay. And I'm not saying that this is the sky is falling and it's not going to be okay. But this is the closest to, since we've played Magic, since we've been doing this podcast for 6.5 years, that I've been like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Right. Generally, we're pretty positive.
Yeah.
This one feels, I don't like this feeling.
Yeah.
And I don't, some of this conversation is projection and trying to figure out what is going on. So that's that part of the shock that I was talking about. And like, this feels very off brand for what we've dealt with in the past. And generally, it feels like there's a mixed celebration and or hatred for what's going on. Like, people could understand Golos being banned, but people loved Golos as their commander and stuff like that. And again, I think this seems like pretty lopsided. It's not close enough to 50% to be a win.
Yeah.
And so I'd have to go back and look at that list that you're having. I'm not, but at just playing ramp cards, this feels like something that you would do for a modern format. Like something that you're really trying to control a lot more. You wouldn't do this type of ban in Legacy or Vintage. You know what I mean? And that is what Commander is. It is as much as casual it is in pre-cons, and I'm moving my camera. As much as it is casual, it is also a Bugatti. Like, it is all the way down to a 1980s Jetta to a a new Bugatti. Like, it can be anything in between. And if we're getting rid of the Bugattis, I don't like that. Sucks. It's fun to have a place to play your cards, no matter what level it's at.
Right.
That was this
draw.
Feels like it's taking away those cards, because again, you can't go anywhere with Jeweled Lotus. Dockside Extortionist You can, but it isn't played anywhere else. And Mana Crypt is banned everywhere now, other than Vintage restricted. So I mean,
there's one more thing. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Finish. No, finish your thought.
Nope.
No, you finish
Nope,
your thought.
I don't want to, because I was just going to repeat myself again. So
well, what I was going to make a point, and I put this on Discord earlier, was I am in the rules committee, their Discord, and this is how you can tell how upset people are. They're having to not shut down, but the message board on all their channels, they had to keep blocking them because everybody was commenting on that. And they're like, no, you need to only comment in this one section, which you couldn't find by scrolling. You had to actually click on whatever they kept sending. And then if you were on their that page in their Discord, I know I put there was 10 comments every 5 seconds. At points, there was 20 comments at every 5 seconds. It was insane. And it is, like you mentioned, it's probably 75, 80% what we're saying. And then you have the others are like, hey, this is going to make the format fun. I understand that there's a big swing on the other side. Like there's money involved. Like, yes, it is a game. And it is that somebody was like, it's a child's game. Let's bring it back to whatever. But that's part of the point where we made this a couple episodes ago. Is like, that's the cool thing about this game is it does financially help you, especially when you get in like a money pinch like I am, where I have to sell some stuff to pay for something. That's the nice thing about this game is you can sell your stuff that you've been playing with for years and years to help you out when you're in a pinch, or if you want to make some money, or if you want to do it as a side hustle, which I also do as a thing. Like, it's not just a card game. There's a lot to this. And going back on this, it's just the fact that they did all three. Like, they did all these. I know we're getting a lot of it's the cEDH and EDH. We need to have the two separate. But let me just take this out for 1 second. I don't want to go too much longer as I want this to be super long with this. But let's take out that that we have two separate ones. Let's say they did that. What if they went, all right, we're banning these 3 cards, but it's now we're having a cEDH ban list and an EDH ban list. Would you still have been fine with that? Like,
yes.
Okay. So that you would have felt
because then you had a place to play your cards.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I think I'm in the same boat with that too. But I still don't like that it was
because then
3.
I could go, oh, you know what? I'll have a couple cEDH decks.
Stuff. Yep. Okay.
And then I'll have some casual stuff. And you have a place to put your cards then. Because now you don't. Like, you got a Mana Crypt? Great. You're not getting into Vintage, bro. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And so, T3's question is, do you see an unban?
I don't.
Nothing of consequence and nothing to replace what's going on.
I think their only way out is to separate the ban list. I think they have to have a separate thing. They're not going to back up on
No, they're not. They're not turning around. They're not about facing tomorrow and going, sorry guys, we made a mistake.
No,
that's not happening.
Yeah. So I think the only way that this gets semi-resolved is if you get 2 different ban lists, and that would make everybody happy, which I don't understand why we don't have that already. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's like, logical, let's just do the thing that's the most logical, and then you don't have a mob coming after you, probably the biggest mob you've ever had come after you. You have the purchasing.
Well, and here's the other question too, is it's like, as I was saying, that Wizards kind of likes control. I don't know any of the RC, but that doesn't mean that they don't enjoy a bit of the power that they have. And why would they want to give it up to like having a casual and a cEDH version? Like, because the original thought was like having multiple different ban lists makes things like more confusing. And that's why they used to have like banned as commander, and then they had like its own bannings and stuff like that. And then they switched that up as well, and I thought that was pretty healthy for the format, and I thought what they did was good.
So yeah, see right here, Kakusho, Evening Star in 2012 banned as the commander. They brought it back later, but Kakusho was one. What's his name? The one that I like, Rafellos, as a general. They eventually banned him altogether. But
Yep.
yeah, I did like when they just were like, oh, can't have it as a general, but then they just kind of they got lazy with it and were like, let's just ban it all again. I don't like to separate the commanders and whatever. Let's just, if it's banned as a commander, then it's banned all across the board. And it's like, well, come on, let's do this. Like, let's work together here. Stop banning shit.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think it's a departure from what they've done in the past. I think it would have been huge news if it was just Dockside.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been. You just made people angry with everything else, is what it ended up being. Up in arms crap. Oh man. Well, we definitely aren't getting to our top 10 Duskmorn stuff this week.
No, that'll be next Monday. Unless you want to do a second episode on this.
No. Okay, so what's the outcome that you think is going to happen? I think a majority of the chat, and again, thank you guys all for joining in on the chat stuff.
Yeah,
and I love seeing the opinions of all. It really opens the eyes of seeing everything with that. But I think chat thinks that it's a separation of the two, and I think that's probably the most likely scenario.
I think so too.
And I think
it's a bit of projecting. I think there needs to be some time. I understand that decks have to change a little bit. The biggest hurt part is people like throwing away money. That part feels real bad.
Yep.
And then again, like that a bit justifies people that are like, I want this game as cheap as possible. So why not proxy? You know what I mean? Like that is a big thing, is I think result of this is like it opens their eyes and they're going, these things aren't as special as I thought they were.
Right. And again, I do want to double on that again, is with the proxy and stuff. I love our rules of proxy that you have to own the one and then you do it. But like you said, like this, you don't want to proxy everything, because then it just ends up being they need to make a profit too, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where to go with that. I guess one thing I did mention too on the Discord was that about a year ago, I got hit from eBay because in my description of cards that I gave away proxies for free if you spent if you spent over $20, you got a proxy for free. And I got notified that my account was suspended for 5 days because I can't do that, whatever. If you go on eBay at this point and you type in an expensive card, or not even that really an expensive card, the first 5 listings, if you put it in order of lowest to highest, are custom proxies. They are legit selling proxies now and not getting taken down. Like, these are just companies. So it's like Wizards is now okay with it, I guess. Maybe since the 30th anniversary shit show last year, but I don't know what's happened. Like, there's a big shift. I don't want to go and start selling our proxies. Those are all our patron stuff, because I don't want, I have a store on eBay, and I don't want that getting shut down again. So I'm hesitant to ever do that, but they are, like, it's not an Etsy page, it's on eBay, and these aren't getting shut down. So I don't know. Are they more lenient now on that? I don't know.
I don't know.
I know. It's not a question that I was really gonna get an answer, because I have no
Rhetorical.
idea. I have no idea what's going on with it. This just really, like, it pushes me to really get rid of all the any doubles I have. I just got to get down to singles, and I'm glad I already started for the most part. We've always been doing that. But there's certain cards where I'm like, I have about 15 different Birds of Paradise. They're not going to ban Birds of Paradise, but I'm like, I like every different art of Birds of Paradise. I don't know why, because it's nostalgia. That's when we started playing, and so I like to have every single one. But it's really making me think different on stuff. I have Defense of the Heart. I have a foil one of that, and the Secret Lair. And I'm like, I might just get rid of that. I really just need the one. Why am I holding on to 2? If you have 2 of something, more than 1 of something, get rid of it. Let somebody else play with it. get some money for it. Then if you get hurt with a ban, it doesn't hurt as bad. So I don't know.
There was a video on TikTok that somebody tagged us in it, and basically they taped a book promo, the first Mana Crypt. They taped it to a big old firework. Just fucking sent it into the air.
I saw.
And I was like, that still hurt to watch.
Yeah. I saw the one. Did you see the one with the blender? Somebody took. They took these three, and actually they added Nadu. So they took these three, put it in a blender with ice cream, poured milk on it, and just burned it. Now, do we know that they were the real cards, or were they proxies that they threw in there? I'm guessing it was probably proxies just for the show of it. But, you know.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
This is like, it's basically a step below LeBron going to Miami. Like that's what that feels like a little bit.
I'm taking my talents. I'm taking my talents to Miami.
Yep. And that would have been preferred. Like, I'm taking my talents to cEDH,
T3.
but you can't go there.
Hey, it's T3 Smith Gaming. He's a Smith too. T3 is that's his name there. We need to take our Malort shot. That Ibukaki bot. Do you have your Malort there that you didn't break?
I'll go get it.
All right. I'll get my. So this is gonna be.
You should get a Jeopardy sound button.
Yeah. Tap dancing. So this is the bottle that Lowry broke. It is a barrel-aged Malort shot. We haven't done a Malort for a little bit because, for those that don't know, we do the Malort shots of whatever. It was really a big thing for a bit. Hey, yeah, that's a Smith. I love that. But we did this mistake. We did about over a month ago. Malort infused spam, and these are still in our fridges or whatever.
You're touching the bottle?
I know. And we ate one of those from a patron. I don't remember if it was Scott or somebody that got it for us, but
I think it was Scott.
Yeah, and basically
Maybe
almost both
Robocop.
got sick off of that. So we decided to change that. We almost lost all our cookies on that one. So all right, so I think we're gonna do a cheers to the death of 3 major cards, guys. This isn't the end of Commander. I think they're gonna get things figured out. I think there's enough chatter back from the Commander community. Like, I saw so much today, so many people that were upset about it. I mean, just the fact. that
the crazy thing is if they unban 1 or 2 of these in 2-3 months, there's going to get backlash then too, because a lot of people are still going to lose that money, and they sold it and they'll panic. And
so true story, out of the, like we talked about earlier, the festival in a box, I opened we can hit the button, but I opened a foil jeweled Lotus.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you. Opened that on Friday, and I listed it last night at 10 o'clock at night. And, you know, this hit this morning, and I dropped it down to 50 on eBay. I put in the description, this card got banned in Commander. I put it in the title, this got banned in Commander, you know, full whatever. Then I saw that prices were getting lower than mine. I sold it for $40 is what I ended up with, you know, like, but that card was 100 or I had it listed at 100. So it got cut more than in half, you know, it got cut 60%. I mean, if they turn around and go, all right, never mind, just kidding. It's like, you motherfuckers, because
they're damned if they do at this point.
Yeah. So I've just
unless they turn around and do it ASAP. But again, neither of us think they're gonna just about face tomorrow and go,
no,
we made a mistake. We hear you. Wording wise, if they said we hear you, we're going to take this slower. Dockside is the only one banned. The other 2 are unbanned. Are we okay with that? If they do that tomorrow, I'd say yeah.
I would be fine, but they're not going to do it. There's no way. And
I also agree with that. There's ego that gets in the way of that. So I think we're stuck with this decision forever. Because again, they're not going to unban it in 3 months. I don't think they unban it. But
let's take this awful. If you guys don't know Malort that are watching, it is the worst drink out of Chicago. It's just the worst shot ever.
Cheers.
Thanks, Ibukaki. Oh,
That is awful.
the first one is always, it's okay. I shouldn't say okay. It's just not as bad as once we get those 2s and 3s in. Oh,
Nope, that one I've been sucking on cough drops and stark contrast.
All right. I think we need to. Do we need to wrap this up? I mean, we're at an hour and a half at this point. I think we got to get this. I mean, we've kind of hit everything. If you guys joined in and wanted, like, we pretty much hit everything. We talked about the proxies. We talked about Soul Ring being banned as well. Spreading the bans over time. We talked about Sheldon having an effect. More people saying that they're out of Commander because of this. We talked about the RC Discord, Rule 0, what that means. Should Wizards take over? What's next on the ban list? What are things to get that has more attention that you shift to, maybe? Like you said, the Mono Vault. How it affects other people. I know everybody said it's a lot of fun. It might make the format a lot more fun for the casuals, but how this actually affects financially. It does matter with finances. Like that it's affecting more than just people. It's affecting also LGS, which are people as well. So even if you're like, oh yeah, it's going to be fun, the LGS is going to be taking a hit. Their packs are gone down. That what they paid for, the packs that these are in they're going to drop. I don't know how much they're going to drop, but they are going to drop. And then
somebody in the Discord also said it, and somebody's saying it here too, but this is a punishment for the Marvel leak
leaks.
that
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
So,
so we pretty much hit everything. What one comparison I didn't say is, or what I meant to say here is that what this did is kind of like stock related. It has a stock of like, you had your money invested into this certain stock and it was a stock market crash and turned your stock into a penny stock. This is what happened to these cards. Like, that's especially Jeweled Lotus. Like, Jeweled Lotus was the one where I was just like, there's no way they banned that because it's the only place that you can play that. But yeah, we hit all of these topics. So if you didn't hear it when you started listening, please go back and listen to those parts because we did hit up everything. If there's something else that we missed, we're probably gonna go through all these comments later and see what you guys all have to say there, because that's all we've been doing today, basically since 11 o'clock today until basically now. So we're almost at 12 hours of nonstop talking about this. Like, it was my dinner topic. It was like hanging out with
right whenever when it hit, I did not stop reading or messaging about it or
messaging your wife that isn't into magic. It's funny that but she was like, the funny thing, and I posted that on Discord too, is like, she's like, I imagine this is the magic community right now, and it's Kevin in Home Alone running all around the house when he knows he's by himself. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what it is. So
yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to settle things down. We'll see. Because again, like, we were self-limited. So like right now, I've only taken out two Crypts, 3 Docksides, no Jewel Lotuses at this point. So like, it's like one card, not even one card per deck. You know what I mean?
But
like,
you're saying, but those were proxies though, because you own
right. I mean, like, I have 1 and 1 and 1 of all of it.
Hey Adam, thanks for subscribing.
Yeah. So for us, I don't think it affects us a whole ton, but it affects a lot of people. We're getting into the repetition part, so I think we could probably go on to the
we got to do our final. Okay, before we get this ended here, for those that aren't familiar, we are doing a tournament where we have. That's the. This was the results. Let me refresh this really quick. We did a quick poll that was I only put up like a couple hours ago, so it really don't have a lot. But for the most part, we had 44% of the people thought they're good with some bands. So like, you know, the Nadu and maybe the Dockside. Had 22% saying they're good for banning all of it. 31% was stop with all the bands, and then 3% was people that just don't really care or have an opinion on it.
How many people voted on that one?
This is only 64. Like I said, I didn't have this one going very long. Not like our tournament. We are down to our final four. So we had number 2 Urza Saga for the best utility land in Commander tournament.
Shit.
We had number 2 Urza Saga. Look how many votes we got there. 361 votes, taking down Strip Mine with 86% of the votes.
Kind of figured that was going to happen.
Yeah,
but
so that's,
man, is that a blowout.
Yeah, so that's my Urza Saga moving on to the finals. And who else moves on to the finals? Oh, Beseju taking down number 1 pick Reliquary Tower. 76% of the vote goes to Beseju. So we will have a final of Beseju and Urza Saga. Hashtag, what is it, Lowry?
Get
I don't know. Get the fuck.
Get the fuck out.
Get the
But
fuck
I am
out.
for the first time. I feel like we have not had a split finals.
Yeah, I
Like
think
this is only you, and
only me.
I don't know if that's only happened yet.
I think this might be the first. If it's not the first, it's like this will be the second at the most. So
Yeah. So congratulations on winning either way. You'll get first pick next tourney whenever that happens. Oh boy.
But yeah, okay. So just make sure you guys vote. That the finals voting will go up tomorrow. That is Tuesday, and you'll have basically 6 days to vote on that. So want to thank everybody for joining. Thank you guys all for the comments. Thank you guys everything. That should do it for this week. We will catch you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
I love boobs, I'm talking tatas. I love boobs, I'm bunkers for honkers. I love boobs, thanks for the memories. I love boobs.
Hey, thanks for subscribing, Jace Hole.
Is that Jace Hole?
Hey, gang, the best way to support the Commander Smiths is make sure you slap that like
I had to
button.
read it
And if
on
you
my
haven't done so
bed.
already, subscribe to our channel. Also, check out our online store, CommanderSmiths.com, where we have metal tokens, mugs, t-shirts, playmats, and more.